the spring marathon season has ended. And I would say that this season for me has been a failure. And in this week's video, I'm going to tell you why that is. But also in this video, I'm going to tell you why I'm so hopeful for the rest of the year. Hello everybody and welcome to this week's vlog. I'm out here enjoying the sunshine the day after the London Marathon, the day after we almost melted in what was one of the hottest but also hardest marathons I've ever run. And in this video, this week's vlog, I am going to tell you why, honestly, I feel like this spring marathon season has been a failure for me. And I'm going to go into that warts and all, give you an honest assessment of my training and my racing. But also I'm going to talk about the races individually. And then finally, we're going to move on to why I'm genuinely hopeful for the rest of the year and what I've learned from the spring marathon season. And that's the most important bit. So if you're new around here, I've just completed the London Marathon. I also completed the Brighton Marathon a few weeks ago, but I definitely was sort of undercooked, undertrained, underprepared for both of those races. So with regards to the training this year, I've genuinely struggled. I've really had a sort of, not a problem, but a real struggle this year, since basically January, with dealing with everything that I'm doing in terms of FORDY runs, my job, obviously my responsibility as a dad, as a husband, the amount of hours I'm working about 70 to 80 hours a week at the moment. I'm making all these videos, editing all these videos, doing the podcast, coaching, you know, getting up super early, staying up late, all that sort of stuff. And I think, honestly, in this training block, that all got on top of me. I was unable to function correctly during that marathon training block. I wasn't focused enough on what I needed to do. Now, in terms of what I needed to do, I needed to build volume, which I kind of did, but I needed to put elements of speed in there. I needed to make sure I was consistent in the gym. All those sort of things basically went out the window in about February because I was really struggling with just life, actually, to be perfectly honest with you. If you didn't know, I've got autism and I've got ADHD. And this year, more than anything, I've been really working to unmask and to come to terms with being autistic and all that sort of stuff. And I've been doing a lot of work which is improving me as a human being, but actually it's been rather exhausting, and that has taken its toll on my training this year. And I can't hide away from that. When I went into the Brighton Marathon and London Marathon, I felt totally undertrained. And I know why with my coach's hat, and I know why when I look back at my training, I can tell you exactly where my shortcomings were. But it's very hard when you're in that, when you're dealing with the way your brain works slightly differently to other people's. It can become overwhelming. So my focus switched in about January, February from, you know, the sort of important stuff that I needed to do to the sort of, well, the things I needed to do to get me through this block. And the things I needed to do was be consistent, get my miles done, and just get out there, really, because I was even struggling to get out there. And I think I achieved that in terms of consistency. If you go over to Strava and follow me, I really strongly recommend you do, especially if you watch the running shoe reviews, because we actually do run in the shoes on this channel. But I was really persistent on being consistent. Does that make any sense? Because that's the only thing I could hang on to. And as somebody, as I said, who's got autism, the numbers were what were actually keeping me connected to my running, to be able to hit certain mileage points through that, whether it be 40 miles, 50 miles, and that kind of thing. But I wasn't doing the basics right, and I wasn't doing the stuff I needed to do to improve, to move forward with my training. And that ultimately, I think, I would say set me back, but gave me a lot of food for thought as we move on to the Chicago training block. So the Brighton Marathon came along first of all, and that was a long run in the training plan. That wasn't a run that I was, or race I was looking to race, let's say. In retrospect, I probably should have gone a little bit harder. It was really hot again, like London, but I probably should have gone a little bit harder. I felt better than in Brighton than I did in London. And maybe that was a mistake on my part. I maybe should have kicked on a little bit there. But again, like I said, in a lot of these videos, I've been lacking a lot of confidence with regards to my training at the moment. And that's all a byproduct of what I just spoke about. But yeah, Brighton was okay. Brighton was good. Brighton was fun. Ran with Tobe. We ran 4:15. I was on for sub 4 until I met Tobe, and that's fine. I ain't got a problem with times, as you know. I felt great. I felt well recovered very quickly after that race, and I really enjoyed it. But in retrospect, I probably should have gone a little bit harder in Brighton, thinking about it. But that's very easy to sit here and say, and that's because I didn't do a very good job. Well, I'll come on to that in London. But yeah, so in retrospect, sitting here today and sort of analysing and sorting all this mess out, I think I should have gone a little bit harder in Brighton. That's probably what I should have done. But again, this is a byproduct of confidence. This is a byproduct of knowing that I hadn't done what I needed to do through this training block. And I think that's where that confidence has been lacking. And that's why I didn't do what I needed to do in Brighton. With regards to London, obviously it was really, really hot. And Ben and I sat there at like 8:30 in the morning and went, you know what, we're just going to fun run this. I had actually originally planned to run around 3:45 in London. That's where I've been kind of hitting London the last few years. And I was kind of hopeful that I'd be able to do something like that. Again, not a PB attempt, not anything like that, but push a little bit in that sort of second half of the race. But obviously couldn't do that because of the heat. So we ran pretty steady. And then again, my fitness and under-training sort of caught up with me at the end. But I do, obviously, you do got to say, or have to say, that a lot of that's down to the heat. So I was glad I finished. Don't get me wrong, I had the best time ever running with the boys. And it was more important than anything else yesterday to take care of each other and get across that finish line. But again, I still slightly niggled or slightly put out because I'm like, I don't feel like I've progressed. I don't feel like I've got sort of fit or anything like that. And again, that goes back to what I was saying at the start. So I'm sort of torn between two things. London was a success in terms of the club. And FORDY runs and everything around that. I had the best time ever running with my friends, the supporters and everybody out on course, the volunteers and all that. But at the same time, I didn't do it justice myself. I just feel like where I've let myself down in my training, I let myself down a little bit on race day. And maybe I'm being too hard on myself, and this is not about a video for sympathy or anything like that. I'm trying to keep it real, trying to be transparent with you, because it's important to be transparent and understand this. And if I can sort of box this up and understand it and put some sort of sense to it all, then we can move on and we can do a better job next time. So yes, I would say this training block has been a failure. Now, you might think that's a bit strong. I've completed 2 marathons, I've done amazing things and all this sort of stuff, yeah? But it's actually the beauty of marathon training, right? And actually the marathons themselves, that they show up your shortcomings. You really, your eyes are wide open to where you could have done better, to what you can improve on. And as I said, I've been really working on myself in the first half of this year. Probably that's taken a lot of energy away from my marathon training, my usual focus on my running. And that's not a bad thing, because as somebody who is sort of continually unmasked and continually coming to terms with being neurodivergent, yeah, and this is something I've been doing for the last 5 or 6 years, yeah, but really this year, this first half of this year, I've been working so hard to unmask and get to know myself even better. It has taken energy out, and that's a good thing, because now moving forward into the second half of the year, that baggage is left behind me. And I can focus on the things that are important. Family, friends, and obviously my Chicago Marathon dream of running, well, just a little bit faster than I have been. So from failure comes success. And for this Chicago Marathon training block, I'm going to be trying to lose some weight. That's the first thing I'm going to be working on. And that starts actually next week. This week, I'm just going to let my body recover. And then I'm going to get to the gym. I'm probably even thinking about getting a PT, right? That's how serious I'm taking this. So we'll do that. I'm going to get the speed in. One of the things I really struggled with was trying to work out my week, but I've sort of cleared my mind now. As I said, now my mind's a little bit clearer on how I can sort of implement these different things. So get the speed in, get the cross training in, so maybe get a PT and work on that side of things so I'm stronger and ready for Chicago. And then I'm going to maintain my volume. I'm quite happy with my volume. 40 to 50 miles a week is a lot, right? So I'm quite happy with that. And if I can keep that up, great. If it comes off a little bit, but I'm doing the other things better and more consistently, that's okay with me as well. So by doing all these things, I'm hoping that with the fitness that I've got from this spring marathon training block, I'm actually going to take another step up, and that's the most important thing. And that's what I've kind of learned today, just walking around here talking to you guys, is, you know what, it's okay. Failure's a good thing. We've learned a lot, but I've got fitness. I've got a new mindset. I just feel more, I don't know, it sounds funny, but like more free as a human being, as I say, all the work I've been doing. And I'm ready to go. I'm excited to go. I want to get training for Chicago. If I could start today, I would. But I can't. I've got to have this week off and rest. So that's where we're at, people. And that's what we're going to be doing. And on the channel in the next few weeks, we've got a couple of races coming up. We've got Leeds, we've got the Hackney Half, we've got a triathlon that I've got to do. I've got to work out whether I can swim yet, but that's another issue. Yeah, so we've got loads coming on the channel. We're obviously going to be documenting what we're doing in terms of the Chicago Marathon training. But yeah, we've got a really busy race schedule coming up where I'm going to be putting hopefully some times down and increasing that confidence. That's what I want to do. We've also hopefully, fingers crossed, the ink's not dry on it yet, but we've hopefully got a new partner that we can announce real soon, which is going to be a game changer for me and the club as well. So fingers crossed on that. But yeah, there's so much going on as always in 40 Runs. The club keeps getting bigger, which is just amazing. Obviously, that's more work as well, but that's fine. I could cope with that. And with your support, make sure you are subscribing, but with your support on this channel, we're going to continue to do these things. And hopefully, if you're new around here, you can stick with me on the journey. If you've been with me for a long time, I really appreciate it. But we're going to take that next step now, hopefully, people. I don't know what's around the corner, but standing here today, walking along here today, talking to you guys, I am so excited and so hopeful after that sort of failure. Maybe failure is a little bit strong, but that failure of those spring races and that spring training block. But I'm okay with that, like I said, because I've learned so much about myself and I'm ready to go for Chicago Marathon training 2025.